Peace, love, and balance, everybody. Peace, love, and balance, y'all. It's your girl, Isha, the goddess of wisdom, also known as Goddess on the Rise, the Copper Queen, the Flower Hoodie Queen, bringing this sacred energy exchange to y'all. Look, y'all, I actually just woke up from a nap. Today is Holy Day, so happy Holy Day to everybody. Happy Venus Day, So, and I know some of y'all to celebrate the 4th of July. That's what this live is about to be about. So, I'm still a bit tired, y'all. I'm catching up on my rest. I had a headache today when I woke up, so I kept, I rested. I listened to my body. So if I seem kind of sleepy, y'all know how I do. That's why. Okay. Something told me to get on here today. I feel like the ancestors definitely woke me up. I was feeling it actually last night. Y'all, I want to talk about this. So the eve of today, I had already started feeling my ancestors getting, riled up. Okay, I tell y'all, I'm indigenous. I identify as Cherokee, American Indian, and as well as a Moor and a Bruja, a shaman. And this time of year when Memorial Day hits, Juneteenth, Thanksgiving, and all these different spiritual, and holidays that still has a lot of pain tied into them. I promise you, my body always starts going through stuff. And if you've been experiencing that, that's because your ancestors are literally trying to speak to you. That means you can start getting sick, depressed out of nowhere, fatigue, like stuff that I've been experiencing and stuff like that. Those are, I call those your ancestors. Those are your ancestor wounds waking up in you and pouring, screaming out in different ways, especially for my people that are not working with their ancestors, okay? All right, so if this message doesn't apply to you, do not take anything personally, okay? And you may not even want to listen in for some of my followers that don't, that may not resonate with this message, okay? So this is going to be about the origins of the 4th of July. Now, the reason why I'm doing this live because somebody reached out to me recently. Somebody that knows me, that knows I identify as the titles I just told y'all. And they asked me, how do I feel about the ICE situations going on with different people and the deportation stuff that's happening right now with people. And I mean, I respected that they wanted to know how I felt about it because that's what they said. I said, as a woman that identifies as indigenous here as an American woman, how do you feel about it? And I was kind of thrown that they even asked me that, and I was like, that was bold. But you know what? I just kept it real. I just said, that's what we're gonna get into today. I just said, I mean, how am I supposed to feel about it? You know what I'm saying? That's a good question, Sarah. Right here. Why do you think America should be the only country that has to let in all the illegals and supply that will benefit the life? No other country allows you to do this, especially in Mexico. That is true. Oh, okay. Y'all coming in already? Yes, that is true. But that is because this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And back then, before it was like it is now, we actually allowed freedom on the land. This is before colonization, Christopher Columbus, and all that other stuff. We had this land was so plentiful that we allowed people in freely, as long as they didn't harm or steal and all that. And we see that didn't you see how that worked out for us? We will, and that's why. And that because the U.S. corporation still does not own America. That's why. So they can't deny people access because the way it was taken, and which we're going to get into today. They didn't, they just overthrew America. They don't own the country of America. They own their U.S. corporation within America. Okay? America is the country. The U.S. is the corporation operating in this country. And that has never changed. Okay? Thank you for that question, okay? But so getting into the origins, I have some notes I've taken here. Getting into the origins of the 4th of July. So if people asking me how do I feel about people being deported and ICE and all this stuff going on, should give you the answer. It got right here. July 4th is a day that is meant to celebrate freedom. While the United States and its settlers claimed its independence from Great Britain, this came at a cost of others' freedom, including the land stolen from indigenous people and the removal of them from their homeland or forced into slavery. Independence Day is meant to celebrate the United States' independence while failing to acknowledge the negative aspects of American history, including historical struggles, slaughter, genocide, removal, and enslavement of Native American and American Indian peoples. Historical figures such as Thomas Jefferson and George Washington rebranded indigenous peoples In fact, the Declaration of Independence refers to indigenous peoples as merciless Indian savages. So this is what our fellow, past presidents, stated about us, that we were merciless in the Indian savages. As a result of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, there was a flood of white settlers released onto indigenous land. As the population of the white settlers increased and the U.S. continued to grow, the indigenous populations greatly decreased, along with tribal homelands and cultures and freedoms. So when somebody asks me how do I feel about what's happening, I feel like karma is doing what it's doing. What goes around comes around. We don't even have any control of that of karma. That's a universal power. Now we do, but what I'm telling you is what goes around always comes around. Okay? I meant to show these books. 40 acres. They got 40 acres in a go. But if you do not know, y'all have heard about 40 acres in a mirror that we never got. And we got lied to. And all our stuff got given and taken and given to the white settlers. And it wasn't supposed to be. Tribes that slumber. Indians of the Tennessee region. Y'all know I'm here in Tennessee, but there's been, we've been everywhere. They came before Columbus. This book right here. All right. Yeah, the Trail of Tears. Okay. And we got, hold on. This is for anybody in Tennessee, the African American history of Nashville, Tennessee from 1780 to 1930. And remember, the 4th of July was founded and was passed in 1776. 1780 wasn't that far away. So what do you think started happening after that? All this stuff has been happening right in our face. So what do you mean? What do I feel? What I feel about is, I mean, it is what it is. I feel like at this point, do our opinions really matter? Because did it ever matter? Because if it ever mattered, we wouldn't have had gone through this and still going through it. Because now they're talking about they're celebrating the 250th anniversary of the U.S. corporation. This is going to be their 250th year next year, I believe, in 2026, celebrating the Declaration of Independence on our bloodshed, removal, and stolen land. And y'all wonder why. And then, now look, like I said, if this doesn't apply to you or this doesn't resonate with you, this is not for you. You might need to check off. But now, because this is happening, just like always, melanin peoples, American blacks, whatever you identify as, are expected to protest, to speak up. As much as we have gotten killed and been doing that, the civil rights movement and all that, we've been fighting and stuff. But the same people that we constantly fight for, like when melanated women got involved with the women rights movement, when everything hits the fan, we never truly benefit, and we have still been locked up the most, murdered the most, and discriminated against the most in our own land, in our own country land. And now, see, this is the crazy part. I don't know how true this is, and I still got to do more research on this. But there's rumors that what they're about to do is because they're taking away the birthright citizenship. So just because you were born here does not no longer is not going to give you U.S. citizenship. And I have been telling y'all about changing y'all status. I am not in the system as a U.S. citizen at all. I did that back in 2020 when I found out about nationalization and the Moors. So I'm in the system as an American Indian original from these American lands. They cannot deport me. Okay? Now, some people do not agree with that. They feel like we are already that we don't need their status change to prove. That's fine. If that's how you feel and that makes you feel strong, I don't want to hear nothing when they kidnap y'all butts and pick y'all up and possibly ship y'all somewhere, because we do not have an army to fight them. Let's just keep it real. Matter of fact, our brothers and sisters have been in their militaries forever because we don't have one. Not strong enough to actually defend ourselves from being deported. We don't own planes. We don't even own majority of the farmland. Bill Gates buying up all the farmland. Same thing is happening again. The same thing that was happening back then is happening again. And that's another thing. 250 years, but remember they said we've been enslaved for over 400 years, and really it'll be by going on 500 to 600 now. We in 2025. That's how you know the numbers about slavery and all that is a lie too. Because all of us did not get enslaved. I'm going to get into that too. Everybody that was in America that got colonized did not get enslaved. I told y'all that my grandma was Cherokee and she was never a slave. My grandfather was though. I found that information. And I believe that my grandfather was originally brought over here. Yes. And that's why they called us African American, because our Cherokee, Choctaw, and different Seminole, different uh ancestors started breeding with the Africans that got brought over here because our people would got killed and we had to just combine together because we had the same problems. So let's go deeper in this message. In the 1880s, the US government developed the Religious Crime Code, which forbid indigenous ceremonial life. These regulations banned indigenous dances, feasts, religious practices, and destroyed or took away sacred objects, all under the threat of imprisonment and withholding of treaty rations. It was also until the mid 1930s where indigenous groups were finally permitted to practice their cultural ceremonies. So it got removed for us to even do it. So that's what happened. We were forced. So if you didn't get removed, remember which is the Trail of Tears. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody didn't stay. Some people went on the Trail of Tears, and you remember they said so many people died on the Trail of Tears. That's why they have markers everywhere. But so many people died during the Trail of Tears. So we lost numbers because of the Trail of Tears. We didn't all just get murdered. There were wars and people got murdered because we fought to the death. And then there was the Trail of Tears and the sickness and the heat exhaustion and just the body exhaustion, just the travel that killed them because they was mostly on foot because they took everything, kicked us off the land. And then we had the people that said either you're going to stay here and be enslaved or you're going to take on our religion. And I tell you, I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, especially melanated people. But the reason why we Christians is because somebody in your bloodline took on the Christianity faith just so they wouldn't be killed and they could stay on this land. And they cooperated. They surrendered. Let's ring the bell. The only way we're going to get through this and heal through this is to admit it. It was a survival move, and we are here today because of that. And we should thank them because now that they made a sacrifice that had to be the most hardest sacrifice of their life because they fought a mighty battle. And we are here today because of that. And now we are benefiting, if you want to, in the best ways for ourselves. If you putting your best foot forward and doing right, because you know what I'm saying. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something we should be proud that they had to humble enough to do for our survival. Okay? So it was not until the mid 1930s where indigenous groups were finally permitted to practice their cultural ceremonies. Throughout this time, indigenous celebrations were either held in secret or ceased to exist. The 4th of July can be used as a day to reflect on United States history and acknowledge the irreversible harm that has been done to many groups of people. It can also be used as an opportunity to address the whitewash retelling of the American Revolution. So that's what I keep trying to tell everybody. Everybody didn't get enslaved. Some of us adopted their religious faith and went on and did it. We cried through it. And that's how our churches got separated, y'all. I don't know if y'all know this, but that's why there are white churches and there are black churches. And they used to come and check on us, barge in on our churches, making sure we were serving God, serving Jesus. Sometimes they would be in church with guns, making sure we was not practicing our spiritual practices. So we've been away from those spiritual practices for a while. Y'all know I got a whole metaphysical shop, and my shop is definitely geared for our spiritual culture. And we still got too many brothers and sisters out here that are still not in tune with their practices, don't realize how powerful it is. Christianity was just not our religion. It was never our religion. It's nothing to be disrespectful about towards people that are Christians. Because I told you I was raised in a strict Christian background. Church of Christ. Church of Christ, baby. It's so strict in there, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But, so I firsthand know. But it never set well with me. I can tell you now, just like I was doing it back then, that I hated that stuff. It wasn't helping me get nowhere. It was confusing to me. It was contradicting. It felt like enslavement. It was so much bloodshed in it. It was like, what is this? Why are we following this? And I didn't see anything positive coming from it because I've been around Christians. I had been around Christians my whole life. My family that I'm currently estranged from, I tell y'all, and they was all crazy. I'm like, Christianity ain't helping us be better people. So why would I want to follow this? And this is the results you get. All these people are Christians, and this is how Christians act. And that's my opinion, y'all. I'm not saying all Christians was this way. I'm talking about my experience specifically. So, you know, that's the answer to the question. How do I feel? I feel like karma always comes around. And sometimes people are guilty by association and or benefits. Everybody has been benefiting from a lot of stuff that the indigenous peoples of this land have not even been benefiting from. Ain't that something? We haven't been even benefiting from something because they've been making us think we black or African American or Negro. Everything but who we are. I done talked about the GI Bill. I done talked about the Boston, the Oklahoma bombings, the assassination of Fred Hampton, the assassination of Malcolm X. Look, even I mean, look at Nelson Mandela. You know what I'm saying? Just we're gonna talk about them all. But and then thank you for Marcus Garvey. He started the Pan African Flag. He's a Jamaican man. Bob Marley used to talk about all this stuff too in his music. So and who is it? It's a Nas and I can't remember the other brother's name. I think it's Stephen Marley, where they got distant relatives. That whole album is my stuff right there. If you have not heard Distant Relatives, y'all should listen to that whole album. I'm not, but that whole Nas and it was going off. Nas and it was going off in that album. Yes, that was the best, and that was back then. That's what I'm saying. We can't act like we don't know about this stuff. Because if you didn't know about it, you wasn't listening. Or like even me, my mom was real strict on the music we was allowed to listen to, and that was a good thing. I'm actually happy about that now. At first, I thought she was trying to prevent me, from just being cool because I didn't know, because everybody used to always be talking about artists and songs that I didn't know nothing about, and I wasn't really popular, and I would get made fun of because I didn't know nothing, right? Or at least I thought that's as a child. But now I understand because it's a lot of music that y'all kids been listening to. Some of these artists is still alive today that they've been around and they was influencing kids at a young age. Like I'm a 80s baby, so it's still artists like from back then is still doing good now. They've been artists, they stuck around because of the youth was buying their stuff. So my age, I think I'm 35, and there's artists that's still doing good right now that would started off when I was in like grade school. So they've been rapping for 20 plus some years, possibly. You know what I'm saying? And doing well because of the youth. And then some of y'all same kids, that's still your favorite rapper, even though he been flooding your mind. Women too, she been flooding your mind, or he been flooding your mind with the most destructive stuff about your people and really about yourself. Because how you gonna look at other people and let some music destroy what you feel about your own people and think you ain't putting that energy towards yourself? These are your people. So I don't think it's crazy. That's what I think. It's crazy. Especially, let's get back to the part I was getting. I think I fell off a little bit. Especially about them trying to deport felons. So they're gonna apparently it's gonna be a rule that felons can't get deported, and that concludes even if you're American black. So felons they're saying felons can get deported now. So if you're a felon, because remember, hold on, they never abolished slavery. I want y'all to know that. That's another thing. Let's ring the bell on this. The U.S. corporation never abolished slavery. Slavery is still legal in this country, specifically when you convict a crime. That's what they said. But they used that back then too. They used that if you committed a crime. If y'all ever seen Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence starring in it, how they would just lie and do stuff to make people and throw stuff on you. You didn't have a jury of your peers, So a lot of men got falsely accused and what put into slavery. And they was in them cotton fields, as we seen on Sinners. Let's ring the bell. As we seen on Sinners, what was they at? They was in jail, the stripes and stuff, the jail uniforms, and they were still in the fields. Because now you a slave again. So they always found a way to contradict our freedom with another rule that would justify them to keep us enslaved. So now that's why I said do not quote me on this. I'm about to do some further research, but there's rumors about they're saying they can deport felons or prisoners. And that's technically through their corporation, that would be correct because you're a slave, right? You don't have no rights. Does that make it right? No. Heck no, I do not agree with that. So, but let me explain something to y'all, ladies and gentlemen. That is an act of war. You want to know why? Because predominantly melanated men are locked in prison and women, but mostly men. So if they send all our brothers out of our country, who's left to protect us? And we barely had protection already in this country. Specifically, the melanated woman has not been protected at all or respected at all. And now they want to take our men away completely. Baby, if that's true, that is definitely an act of war, if you ask me. I don't think they're gonna be able to let that fly. That is gonna put us at a huge disadvantage, ladies and gentlemen, on purpose. So don't if they're planning this, there's a strategy to why this is being done. Believe that. So I told you I'm not a U.S. citizen. I did not vote. I didn't care about who was mad about me not voting. I don't have to vote. I'm not a U.S. citizen. Chinese people don't vote. Middle Eastern people that come from here, from Arabs and all them, they don't be voting. Indians that come here, most people, unless they got their citizenship here, they don't vote because they're not a U.S. citizen. So some people just here on green cards or whatever, and they never obtained citizenship, so they're not required to vote. And even some of them that have gotten citizenship, some of them still don't vote because they still are building in their countries. Africans too. That's another thing, y'all. I don't care what they've been telling y'all. We do not have citizenship in Africa. They have created past laws like Ghana and stuff like that, saying we could come home. But have y'all been paying attention to these videos telling you about these American blacks that's been leaving and going to places like Ghana and the mistreatment they're receiving? Because you're not the original peoples of that land either. No matter where we go, we always getting disrespected. That's why I said I didn't get on the Ghana train and move to Africa thing. No, I'm not going to a country that I don't know with people I don't know. The only way I would even be willing to consider doing something like that is I would definitely have to be a part of a tribe, a large tribe that we decide to go together, a strong tribe. And I'm not in that. So if something were to happen, I would have you. You don't need to just go and leave the country and go by yourself. I do not recommend that for nobody, especially as Americans. So it's been a lot of stuff going on in these other countries. As with American blacks has been going to Ghana or wherever they're going, you're not going to get treated better there either. You're not. And I've been keeping up with all this stuff. I tell people, I say, you're not getting away from this monster. We gotta face this monster here head on. And honestly, you need to do your spiritual work. If y'all been working with your ancestors, doing your rituals, healing, that's another thing. We got so much healing to do, so we can stop harming each other and building with one another and learn how to forgive each other with change behavior for the better. Because that's another. Let's ring the bell. We done forgiving people that keep on doing the same stuff over and over again, expecting us to keep dealing with it. No, I tell y'all all the time, all skin folk is not your kinfolk, and all white people is not your enemy. I'm like, we've seen in history how. Let me talk about that too. This is for my brothers and sisters of different ethnicities. Just like they showed y'all in Avatar, Just like they showed y'all some examples in movies like the Pocahontas and all that stuff, even though we know that's not the real story. That's just partial things that took place. It is very true that every white person or Caucasian person was not okay with what they was doing to us. And they fought with us too, like on some sweet state of Jones. Okay? And they got killed with us too. That is very true. They was not okay with what was happening to us. But they was outnumbered by their own people. They was outnumbered by their own people. And they got killed too. So, but once again in our history, we have seen over and over again, just like Huey Newton, Fred Hampton, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all these people got betrayed by our own kind and killed by our own kind. We got to stop that. That's our fault. We no longer pointing the finger about that stuff. We no longer pointing the finger about that stuff. That's our fault. I'm not saying we are the reason. It's just matter of fact, it's just like Yeshua. Yeshua got killed over some silver by his own brother. Wasn't he one of the disciples? What's our problem, man? Judas. What's our problem? Why are we so quick to betray each other and hate on each other? We gotta you know what? We need to start doing rituals to get rid of these demons that we house. There's still traitors out here. There's still backstabbers out here. And demons roaming within our ancestral wombs that you need to add. That's what I mean by healing. We got to heal these demons up out of us so we can stop the madness, man. We got to stop the madness. That's why I'm like, people asking me, like we should feel sorry for we. When did they go? When someone gonna feel sorry for us? Remember, they celebrating 250 years of their freedom. Why do we always got to feel sorry for everybody else? We have still not received justice yet. No, this is beyond. I tell people this is beyond 40 acres and a mural. This is beyond reparations. It's beyond that now. See, the stuff that they could have gave us years ago and then stopped doing the things that they did to us, like discrimination, racism, unjustly murders and imprisonments. There's not enough money that they can pay us to erase all that. It's not going to work like that. And that's why the goddess of Ma'at, the balancing of the scales, Anubis, Tahuti, and all that, it's on. And y'all need to be working with your ancestors. See, I told y'all, you need to be working with your ancient ancestors. Like I work with the ancient Kemet ancestors. I just named a few. But you also need to be working with your American ancestors if you identify as American. And I'm talking about my American indigenous peoples. You need to be working with them because them are the people that are still here on these grounds. They have been through the storm and the fire. Okay? The earthquakes, the tornadoes, the destruction of civilization. Them are the people you need to be working with, which will be our hoodoo brothers and sisters. Y'all need to be working with them. Y'all need to be feeding them, healing because they heal through us, giving them things that they need. Because some of our anger that we have stems from them, and then we take it out on each other. We still doing that. That's what I'm saying. That's why there's so much domestic violence amongst our peoples. We got to get that anger out and stop turning it on each other. We either turn it on ourselves because suicides be up, or then we turn it on each other. And then what they call black on black crime. But I want y'all to know this because they didn't want to talk about that. I just looked this up. They trying to say that they're going to be deporting felons, right? And we know majority of melanated men are locked up. There's still more melanated men in prison than there are women, melanated women. But melanated men only make up 30% of violent crimes, they say. And Caucasian men make up like 75 to 80% of violent crimes here in the U.S. Are they going to be deported too? You know what I'm saying? That's another. They be trying to act like the melanated man is just so violent. No, not really. That's just what's always being promoted. We're not. How many school shootings have we seen? Melanated men just don't be going up to schools and shooting up schools. It just don't be happening like that. The last person we had was DC Sniper and his son. Okay, man, that was crazy because everybody was shocked when they found out DC Sniper was a black guy. But he had some kind of mental illness too, or something like that, and then taught his son that stuff. But that's what I'm saying. Majority of these crazy bombing situations and serious violent crimes, melanated men don't be doing that. And that's why I really don't like when people be like, oh, well, they get away with it. Why can't we? So you monkey see, monkey do? Are you what? Everything, it's a lot of things that got done by other people that don't make it right. We got enslaved. So should we say, well, since we got enslaved, some of us, why don't we enslave people? What are you monkey? That's what I'm saying. That will make us no better than them. So no, we're not going to repeat history. That ain't the answer either. The answer is already getting done. You just need to do your spiritual work and heal and work with your ancestors and stay out the way. And just stay divine. Stay in balance and harmony under the Ma'at energy. That's what you need to do. Stay in justice. Okay? That's it. That's all you really get. That's what's this is spiritual warfare. That's all people got to do. This is the time for you to be getting close to your spiritual practices. That is all your job is required to do. And healing is the number one thing. Healing is the number one thing. Okay, y'all? Healing. So I feel like I read everything that I took notes about. Thank you for somebody that had that comment earlier that I read out loud. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it again. But yeah, I think I answered that question. I said, yeah, the reason why we are the country that always letting people come over here because this is the foundation. That's why. This is America. Childish Gambino told y'all. This is America. They make y'all think everything else. No, there's if it's rich in it's rich in Africa. We already know that. Their lands are rich. But this is America. This America, baby. It goes way down the rabbit hole, baby. That's why there's pyramids here. That's why they have found Egyptian mummies and artifacts here. They don't all this stuff they try to say they found in the east, where that main pyramid is in Egypt and all that. Nah, they don't found plenty of stuff right here in America. The Moroccan Empire. Because this is where it all began. And that's what they don't want y'all to know. That's what they don't want y'all to know. That's why. That's why. So look, y'all, that's all I got today. I think I am probably going to go back to sleep. I do got to work tonight. I'm going to be at the Underdog, like I always do every first Fridays in here in Nashville, Tennessee. So I'll be doing tarot readings. I'm going to have some of my jewelry. I got a big weekend next week, too. I'm going to be back at the Underdog next Wednesday for another event with another musician that's celebrating a birthday, as well as some songs that they just released. And then I have a full weekend of events I'm already working on right now. So I'm about to be busy. This is my first weekend that ain't been so full in a while. It was last weekend. Well, no, last weekend I was busy, I think. But yeah, it's been a little slow this week. But hey, I'm getting out there though. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for the likes. But if y'all would like to get readings by me, I got a whole bunch of readings yesterday. I'm happy people came by my shop. So I did 6 readings yesterday. So thank y'all for that. The people that supported me. I did that. So if y'all know the shop is always open. So even if I'm not out doing events, y'all, I'm not always going to be out and about doing events. So you have to book or come by the shop to get things. And I highly recommend that because I tell y'all, a lot of times I got to pay vendor fees. Like right now, it's already a few vendor fees I'm going to have to pay for this weekend. And that requires money. So but when y'all come by my shop, it's here in Nashville, Tennessee. You can go to the bottom of this page and go to my Google link. Okay. But yeah. So when I have to pay vendor fees, that's a lot. But when y'all come by the shop, obviously I'm not paying vendor fees, and that saves me a lot of money too. And it's very convenient for me. So I appreciate those people that came by yesterday and got readings. They're 50% off right now. You can email me at sacredenergyexchange222@gmail.com. I do virtual readings for people that don't live locally and can't stop by. And y'all know y'all can always shop at my website, goddessontherise.life, and I ship out always. Okay, so y'all can get y'all things. I showed a lot of new stuff that I got in recently, and I actually just ordered some more stuff. And I'm about to be ordering some more stuff because I just sold out of some stuff. So I tell y'all, as I sell out of stuff, I order more stuff, and that prevents me from having to overstock. I don't like having overstock, y'all. Believe it or not, overstock is not always the best, because then if you have stuff too long, you have to discount it just to get rid of it. So I don't over order. I do not. I make sure I sell out of stuff first so it can make sense, okay? And then sometimes, y'all, if something took too long to sell, once I'm sold out, I may not get it back in stock because it didn't sell well, okay? I pay attention to all that. And then if it don't sell well or fast enough, I'm not getting it back in, because I'm not about to go through that again, okay? I'm gonna move on to something better. So thank y'all so much. Like I said, go to for my order from my website, goddessontherise.life. Or get your reading at 50% off, Sacred Energy Exchange 222@gmail.com. Y'all are welcome to send donations to support indigenous owned businesses. If you know any other indigenous owned businesses outside of mine, so especially where you are locally, and you can, support them, please do, because we do need the support. And and most importantly, we deserve the support. Honestly, we do, all of us, and everybody deserves support. Us another thing. So be supportive in your communities in any way you can. Like me, the events that I'm working this weekend are people from my community that I'm starting to do better about working with people in my community. Okay, because that's another thing. We do need to get close to each other. That's why I say we got to heal and forgive. It ain't time to be beefing. It's time to build. Okay, it's time to build. Let's ring the bell. It's not time to be beefing. It's time to build. Okay? It's time to build. All right? Build, love, and forgive and heal. Okay? So I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Go ahead and go back and listen to this whole thing over again if you missed anything. Peace, love, and balance. Capricorn checking out.